Hello, everybody. I'm John Scherer. I'm coming to you from lockdown in Warsaw, Poland. Recently, an international group of friends and colleagues got together. We were thinking about what could we do to help people that are in this lockdown, trapped in this pandemic, the whole planet is. Is there something we could do that might give people a way to turn this challenging, difficult, threatening crisis into something of a learning experience, something that might be useful in the long run, so that when the doors open and we come back out, that maybe we can help the world be a little bit different, a little bit better. So that's what this is about. I'm going to share the screen now. You might hear sirens going off beside me here, but we're calling this the Adventus Initiative. You'll see why in a minute. It's how to turn lockdown into learning and how maybe reset into renewal. Okay. And this is, I'm just representing this group of friends and colleagues. So here we go. Hope you find it useful. The people that have done this have found it very useful. Hope you do. Just start out. What a strange new world we're in. No one, I don't think it's been centuries, I think, since the whole world was gripped this way. Literally, the whole world is going through something. In many countries, you have to wear cloth masks or something in front of the face. Most of the world, in fact. Many of the streets have been empty. This happens to be Madrid, Spain. In Warsaw, it was like that up until recently. I don't know about your city or your town, but it's affected everything, except in the emergency rooms and the places where the people that have the virus are being treated. They're not empty, and that's the tragedy here. Some of you watching this, using this, may be in that world, in the healthcare world. I have some good friends in that world. One of my colleagues is responsible for creating a COVID-19 section in a hospital here in Warsaw. It's just everywhere. Of course, physical distancing I like better than social distancing, because I've actually been more social using Zoom lately than I was before. And all of it, the whole world, and it's all being impacted by this little guy right here that you can't even see. This is just amazing. The whole earth, the whole human race has been affected by this little guy right here in ways that nobody's ever seen before. So here we are. I love this quote from T.S. Eliot, this American author. He said, everyone gets the experience. Some get the lesson, right? We're all having experience. You can't not have the experience of this pandemic. Maybe it's a lockdown. Maybe you're in a healthcare unit. I mean, all kinds, but everyone's having some kind of experience. Some are going to get a lesson out of this. Well, what lessons are waiting for you in this pandemic experience? This is designed to help you figure out what they are, okay, and maybe bring them into being. Is this a crisis? Absolutely. It's important to remember, though, that the word crisis in Chinese, interestingly enough, has two characters. The first character is the character for danger or threat. Well, this is definitely a danger. It's a threat, something coming at you, okay? The second figure in the Chinese word for crisis has this figure for moment of choice. It's been popularly called an opportunity, but that's not really true. It's simply a moment when you get to choose. The danger or the threat is not negotiable. That is a given. But how you choose to respond is the key. Whether it turns out to be an opportunity for you or not depends on what you do, how you react or respond to the threat. The threat is real. What's open is how we respond to it. That's what this Adventus Initiative is really all about. And we think there's a truth emerging here, and that is that there might not be a reset. There just might not be a let's go back to the way it was. In fact, a lot of the people that I talk to are saying, really, do we want to go back to the way it was? This virus has created what in our field we would call a pattern interrupt. It has interrupted all the patterns, family patterns, business patterns, economic patterns, social patterns, religious patterns, educational. I mean, every institution on the planet has been affected by this thing. It has thrown all the cards up in the air. which actually is an opportunity. In our field, when change needs to happen, the first thing is called unfreeze. Well, here we are. So when the cards are all thrown up in the air, we have a chance, as they float down, we have a chance to move them a little bit and create new patterns in this lockdown situation. So that's where we're going with this. All right. Maybe we're not going to go back. Who wants to go back? Let's go forward. You'll see. That's what Adventus is about. So what attitude is the right one, or a good one, to bring to this future that's ahead of us? There's two very different attitudes, and they have very different outcomes. Okay. Plan A. This is the default. This is the one that most people use, most couples use, most corporations use, most countries use. And that is to see the future as futurus, which is the Latin word for future. It's the future tense of the verb to be. And the philosophy here says that the future is going to be a lot like the past was. So the future is sort of an extension of the past with some variation, okay? But the future is going to look a lot like the past. So here we are, we're standing here now, and we have the past. So if we're practicing futurist, we look at the past, we study it, we really get serious about the past. We analyze, like when you do a budget, okay? If you ever have to do a budget, this is what you do. You look at the past, you take the last year, the years before that, you tweak it a little bit, do some modeling or some variables, and the focus of futurist is to predict. What you're trying to do with the futurist view of the future is predict the future. You're trying to guess correctly what the future is. You're trying to avoid failure, avoid mistakes, avoid being wrong, okay? By predicting accurately what the future is going to be, okay? You predict, you make a plan, and then you hope, okay? And then you hope that it looks kind of like what you thought it was going to be like. And the hope is strong. The only problem with this model is it just rarely turns out that way, in case you haven't noticed, okay? Fortunately, there's a plan B. There's a different attitude toward the future. And this is the future as Adventus, another Latin word for future. Think adventure. It's like an adventure, okay? It's open. The future is not closed. It's open. It's unknown, but it is malleable. We can actually shape it. In fact, we are shaping it by the things we do today. Here's how this works. Here we are, standing here in the present. We're looking at the past, okay? Definitely want to learn from the past. Think about it, reflect on it, figure out what was working, what was not working. And then a very important thing happens. We turn around and we face toward the future that we don't know about. But we have a very different attitude toward what's ahead of us as we turn toward the future. That attitude is we reflect. We reflect on the past. What can we learn from that? What's working, what was working, what didn't work? We reflect on where we are now, what's happening right now. We choose something and then we act. We try stuff. We innovate. We do experiments, and then we just start trying stuff out. Oh, well, okay. And then what we have to do is adapt based on what happens, and then innovate some more, so that we're in a path of discovery. When you go on an adventure, you're on a hike, okay, you're going on a hike or a camping trip or something. Maybe you've been down that road before, but you really don't know what's around that bend. I've done canoe camping and Eagle Scout and all this kind of stuff. You go on a camping trip, you don't know for sure. You know, that stone used to be over there. Maybe it's not anymore. That tree may be gone. So you don't know. You have to adapt to the world that's coming, and you innovate. You try some stuff. In the process, you discover. You try things. Some of them work. Some of them don't. And eventually, you have created a new pattern. You can look back at some point and say, isn't that amazing? During that lockdown, we did this, then we tried that, in our family, in our relationship, in our company, we did this, we did, okay, great. Oh, isn't that amazing? But so you can't plan your way into Adventus. You make a plan, obviously, but you don't expect the plan to happen. That's a starting point, just to give you a general direction. Then you have to adapt, innovate, and discover. So Adventus is about helping to shape the future rather than hoping that you get it right and you're guessing correctly, okay? So this Adventus Initiative has been designed by my colleagues and myself for you. There are 4 what we call thought experiments, conversations basically, to help you find learning in the lockdown and renewal in the reset. If you are locked down by yourself, if you're alone, I hope you enjoy your company. My older son is here with me. Thank God. He's taking care of the shopping. He said, Dad, don't go anywhere near that front door. He's our interface with the world. So it's really great. Maybe you're in a partnership. If you're in a relationship, maybe you have a family. So these are conversations that you can have by yourself. You can have with a partner. A couple of our colleagues have even done it with their kids. And the kids have kind of enjoyed being in the conversation. It's up to you, however you want to use these, okay? But as you begin, remember that if you're doing this with someone, with a partner, or with members of your family or a group of friends, remember that what's most important in these conversations is your presence. Not how smart you are, not how persuasive you are. This is not about an argument. It's not about winning people over to your point of view. It's not about getting agreement about something. It's simply about listening deeply to what the people around you have to say about the past, about the present, and about the future from their point of view. So you're not just listening from here. You're listening from here and here and here. You're really listening, because deep presence in a situation like this is alchemy. Remember the alchemist, it'll turn lead into gold. Your presence can turn lead into gold. All right. If you want some worksheets, by the way, for these exercises, there's a PDF, and the link to these, it's actually grayscale, trying to save on color ink and everything, will be on the Vimeo link that got you here. So when you go to the Vimeo link, if you look at that page, it'll be under the details. So you can print these out if you want to. As you'll see, you can fill them out. So let's get started. Conversation number 1, thought experiment number 1. What have been the most difficult things for you about this pandemic or this lockdown? When you step back and you look at it, 8 weeks? I don't know. Feels like I've been here forever. I've gone out 3-4 times, take walks, sneaking around, in the sunshine, trying to get some sun. But what have been the most difficult things for you? If you're a healthcare worker, it's, God bless you, getting up every day, hoping you have a mask, hoping your PPE is available, hoping you don't catch the virus when you go to work. If you have people that are sick, that have the virus in your family, there are all kinds of things. There's a huge range of things that are difficult. I feel embarrassed to even tell you what's difficult for me. It's like nothing compared to what a lot of you are facing. So, I'm doing okay. I've got an apartment and food and so on, and my son is here, so I'm hanging in there. Thought experiment number 2, conversation number 2. How are you reacting to the circumstances? What are your hopes in the face of this thing? Hopes for the future, hopes for now, hopes for tomorrow, hopes for today. What are your concerns, fears, or concerns about today, about tomorrow, about the future? For yourself, your relationships, for your organization, for your family, for your country, for the earth. What is your number 1 thought or feeling about what's been happening? Fear, concern, hope, excitement, wonder, curiosity, and whatever you can say to each other about this, we think is a really, really lovely thing to talk about. Okay, that's thought experiment number 2. Thought experiment number 3, conversation number 3. What are you bringing to this situation, this experience that we're all having? What are you bringing to the pandemic experience, whatever it is for you? First of all, what gifts are you bringing? What gifts are you discovering or rediscovering? What are you really good at? What talents are emerging? What gifts are emerging? Or what gifts are not being allowed to happen under lockdown? But what are the gifts in you that are present in this particular situation? It'd be great if you're with other people to talk about those gifts and ask them what they think your gifts are. And then secondly, think about the future. What new images are emerging? Images of a fresh future or a different future. If you could shape the future, what would be different? If the future is in fact malleable like clay, that it can be molded and shaped, what would the future be like? if you could help shape it in your own life, maybe in your family, your partnership, your organization, your country, and so on. And then thought experiment number 4, conversation number 4. And this is about shifting where you put your attention, okay? And these are 7 areas where we figured people quite often put their attention, 7 areas of life. One is work, where you go. Maybe it's at home, maybe you manage a family, maybe you manage a corporation, maybe you're a healthcare worker, maybe you clean houses. It doesn't matter. You're Seva. What do you do every day? What's when you wake up in the morning? What do you wake up into? Okay. Financial well-being. Your money in, money out. How are you doing? Security in that regard. How much attention do you pay to that? Family. How much attention do you pay to your family? Interestingly enough, because of the Zoom thing, I'm in touch with my cousins that I haven't talked to in years. It's been really fabulous. So in a way, my family focus is slightly more than it was before. What about community in the larger world? Not just you and the world that you can see. How much attention do you pay to wanting to create a world that's a little bit better around you? Personal development, your learning, your growth, your development into the fullness of who you are. Education, school, personal development experiences, therapy, counseling, coaching, all these things that can help you become better and stronger. Friends, how much energy and attention do you put into finding and maintaining friendships? And then your own health and well-being, what you eat, what you drink, what you smoke or don't smoke, how much rest do you have? How well do you take care of your body and your spirit, and human spirit's in the middle there. And because these might not be all of the ones we couldn't guess for everybody, here's a blank. You can, if you have another area, so why didn't you do that? Well, there you got one right there. Okay. So now the idea here is to first of all take a look at where was your attention before the lockdown. Okay. Like in these areas, where was your attention? I'll show you a really simple way to figure this out. If you can get the worksheet, print the worksheet, and this is me, and this is mine. This is before the lockdown. This is where my attention was. And actually, when it comes to work, I would have drawn it all the way up to the top of the page. I'm single. I wake up in my work. I go to sleep in my work. My work is joyful. It's something it doesn't even feel like work to me. So it's just full. That circle is overflowing. Financial well-being. I think I've got some stocks, but I'm hoping the stock market does okay. I don't pay any attention to it. I'm embarrassed to tell you that. I feel irresponsible, but I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I can eat. I've got enough money to live. That's fine for me. My family, very important. Children, grandchildren, different countries, Paris, United States, over here in Europe, family everywhere, very important. Community and larger world, it's fairly significant to me. Here I am, I'm in Eastern Europe now. A lot of my work and my clients are in various parts of the world. I'm concerned about the planet, but I don't do a lot. I think some, but I don't do a lot, really. Personal development, all learning, growth, coaching, therapy, whatever. I'm all over that. Friends, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Boy, that needs some work. My health and well-being, I used to fill it all the way up to the top, but now at this point in my life, I still do yoga every day, and I walk outside. I work out with a trainer on Zoom 3 mornings a week. He works pretty hard. I'm concerned about what I eat, what I drink. I don't smoke, all that. Trying to stay vertical as long as possible. So, okay, so that's where it was before. Hope you get the idea. Now, yours, of course, will be different. So now the next thing is, where do you intend to put your focus? Like, if you're going to make some changes, what kind of changes would you make? Okay, these are mine. Okay, and I circle 3. I circle friends, work, and the community and larger world. I want to reduce my focus on work, take some of that energy, put it into friends, go to a movie every now and then, do something like that. And this process, this Adventus Initiative is an example of me wanting to pay just a little more conscious attention to the health of the world and the health of the planet. So that's where my 3 were. You want to pick 3 and do that, that's fine. Because there's a final conversation here. And on reflection of all of this, all the conversations, here are 3 questions we have for you. Out of this, what are some things that you want to hold on to from before? What are some things that you want to let go of or stop doing from before? And what are some things that you want to start doing because you've discovered during this lockdown or whatever, boy, I want to do more of that. I really want to do that. That's really great. So how much would you want to hold on to and continue from the past? What patterns do you want to keep? What patterns do you want to break? And what new patterns do you want to start? Okay, in your own life, inside your circle of influence. Okay. And then finally, one simple act that you commit to do or be in response to this whole thing as soon as humanly possible. What's one thing? Just one thing. That will, as soon as you operationalize that one thing, it makes the rest of these conversations a little more real. Okay. So that's it. These are some of the members that were on this last little team. We were working on this video. Here's a subgroup. People from, we've got people here from Israel and Scotland and Germany and Poland and London and Canada and all over the place. India, my gosh, France. So it's a fabulous group of people, great to work with. So here's the Adventus Initiative, turning lockdown into learning, reset it to renewal. If you found this valuable, please pass it on. There's no copyright on this. This is open source. You can just send it, do whatever you want with it. Okay, this is for you. Thank you for participating in this initiative. We hope you'll have some of these, use the conversations that seem like they would be useful to you, and may these conversations and the courageous choices that you make bring new life, new patterns, new life, renewal. This Adventist view of the future, may it bring new life to your world and to the world. Okay, we'll stop the share here. And I'm a sharer, but I'm going to stop the sharing and just say goodbye. Hope this is helpful. Bless you. Take care. And as we say here in Poland, friend says, stay negative. Okay, stay negative.